Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. Victor Newman's world, so carefully engineered, so tightly gripped, shattered in a single, trembling breath as Audra Charles stepped forward, hands raised, voice quivering, shouting, "Don't shoot my brother." The words sliced through the tension like a blade, freezing Victor mid-aim as the gun locked on Matt's chest. For an instant, there was no oxygen in the room, only the metallic taste of betrayal, fear, and the raw, electric shock of a truth that had been buried so deeply that even the great Victor Newman struggled to comprehend what he'd just heard. Audra's face was drained of color, but her eyes burned with a desperation he had never seen in her before, never even imagined she possessed. "Victor, please," she whispered, stepping between the gun and the man he was seconds away from killing. "Don't shoot my brother. Matt. Matt is my biological brother." The confession detonated with the force of a bomb, sending Victor's mind spiraling back through every scheme, every manipulation, every alliance she had carefully built. Audra's secret, years in the making, erupted in the open, leaving Victor stunned into a silence so cold it seemed to suck the heat out of the room. He stared at her, the barrel trembling ever so slightly as his grip softened, confusion wresting control from his fury. "You're what?" he growled, the words scraping out of his throat like gravel. Audra swallowed hard, tears streaking down her cheeks, but her spine held straight. "My brother. The reason I came to Genoa City. The reason I worked my way into your world. Everything you think you know about me starts with him." Matt, bruised, breathless, and cornered, looked at her with a mixture of shame and helpless gratitude as she revealed the one truth they promised never to speak aloud. "I didn't want you to find out like this," Audra continued, her voice thickening. "But Matt, Mitch, whatever name he's going by, I couldn't let you kill him. Not when all of this started long before you or your empire ever crossed my path." Victor's jaw clenched so tightly a twitch pulsed beneath his cheek. His empire had survived enemies, betrayals, assassins, and backstabbers, but nothing rattled him like realizing the snake he'd let slither closest to his family had been hiding a second venom all along. The realization that Audra had never been alone in her schemes hit him like a punch to the chest. She hadn't just been working for herself. She had been working for blood. Audra's hand shook as she exhaled, gathering strength. "Our mother, she kept us in different homes. Different fathers. But she made us promise one thing, that no matter what life turned us into, we would protect each other." She looked up at Victor with eyes filled with a torment he'd never recognized. "Matt went down a darker path. A deeper one. He disappeared into that darkness years ago, and I spent half my life trying to drag him out. That's why I know the man in front of you isn't just a con artist, or a threat, or some criminal you can easily erase. He's my family. My last piece of family." Victor's breath blew out in a harsh exhale. The gun lowered an inch, but not enough to signal forgiveness. Not enough to signal anything except barely controlled restraint. His voice deepened, low and icy. "You lied to me. From the beginning." Audra nodded, unable to deny it. "Yes. But everything else, my loyalty to you, my ambition, the work I did, was real. I didn't betray your company. I didn't sabotage your family. I just never told you the one thing that could destroy everything." Matt coughed, wincing, but he kept his eyes locked on Victor, as if familiar with staring down death. "She didn't know what I planned. Not all of it," he rasped. "I dragged her into this mess. Don't punish her for me." Victor's snarl snapped through the air. "You think I won't punish you both?" Audra stepped forward again, shielding Matt with her body. "You can punish me. Hate me. Fire me. Expose me. Do whatever you want." Her voice cracked, full of raw vulnerability Victor had never seen from her, not even in her most manipulative moments. "But please, don't shoot my brother." Victor's silence became a force that pressed on all of them, a suffocating, heavy weight. The gears in his mind turned, analyzing every move, every motive, every lie Audra had ever fed him. She had slithered through his empire. She had slept near the corners of his world. She had clawed her way up while he watched, admired, and at times even trusted her ambition. And all along, she had a hidden purpose. A hidden partner. A hidden blood tie. The betrayal didn't just anger him, it insulted him. "I took you under my wing," Victor hissed slowly, the betrayal squeezing his voice into a near whisper. "I gave you power. Opportunity. I made you someone in this town. And this whole time, you were running a con with him?" Audra shook her head vigorously. "No. Not with him. Because of him." Matt shifted, guilt washing over his features. "She's telling the truth," he muttered. "I never wanted her involved. But when things spiraled, when Sharon and the Newmans started uncovering pieces of me, I panicked. I reached out." Victor's eyes narrowed. "And you, Audra, you helped him hide. Helped him run." Audra hesitated, torn between shame and defiance. "Yes," she admitted. "Because he's my brother, and if I didn't help him, he would have died." Victor's grip tightened on the gun again, but this time, it trembled with something other than anger, restraint. Calculation. "He should have died," Victor growled. Audra flinched. "Maybe. I'm not defending the things he's done. I'm not saying he's innocent. But killing him won't fix the damage. It won't undo the chaos. It won't make you any safer." Her voice grew firmer. "But letting me explain, letting me tell you the full truth, might." Victor's gaze darted from Audra to Matt and back again, finally noticing the trembling fear beneath her bravado, the vulnerability she'd kept buried under layers of ambition. It became unmistakably clear, for the first time since he'd known her, Audra Charles wasn't acting. She wasn't manipulating. She wasn't charming her way through danger. She was pleading. She was terrified. And she was honest. The gun in Victor's hand felt suddenly heavier, as if the truth itself had added weight to the metal. His voice dropped, dangerously controlled. "Start talking. All of it." Audra inhaled deeply, as if preparing to rip open a wound she'd spent years stitching shut. "I knew Matt was spiraling into illegal work. I knew he was changing his identity over and over. I knew he was using people. But I didn't know he had become this person." She pointed toward Matt, her expression twisted with grief. "The man you see now is a ghost of the boy I grew up with. My little brother. The one who protected me when my mother's boyfriend got violent. The one who stole food so I could eat. The one who told me I deserved the world." Her voice shook with pain. "So when he called me, begging for help, I couldn't turn my back. Even if it meant lying to you." Matt's breath hitched. For the first time, tears slipped down his face. "Audra, stop," he murmured, shaking his head. "I don't deserve you defending me." "You're my brother," she replied, voice breaking. "I don't stop loving you because you're damaged." Victor's stare sharpened. "So you admit you lied? Covered up for him? Helped him manipulate others?" Audra nodded. "Yes. But I didn't help him hurt anyone. I didn't know about the Newman attacks. I didn't know he was using Sharon's past. I didn't know he was targeting people you love." Her voice thinned into a whisper. "If I had known, I would have stopped him." Matt squeezed his eyes shut, clearly ashamed. "She's telling the truth. I used her. I relied on her loyalty. She didn't know the half of what I was doing." Victor lowered the gun another inch, his chest heaving with restrained fury as he processed every word. The silence stretched long enough for dread to settle into all three of them. But then his voice, low and threatening, cut through the air. "So the two of you brought your family war into my territory?" "Yes," Audra whispered. "And I'm sorry." Victor stepped closer, the gun still in his hand. "Do you know what happens to people who lie to me?" Audra swallowed. "Yes." "Do you know what happens to people who threaten my family?" She nodded, tears pooling again. "Yes." Victor's voice deepened. "And yet you still stand there. Because he's my brother, she replied, trembling but resolute. And I will not let you shoot him. The gun finally lowered to Victor's side, but his fury remained sharp, simmering beneath the surface. He wasn't done deciding their fate. Not even close. His glare bore into Audra with enough pressure to make her knees buckle. This isn't over, he warned. Not for you. Not for him. Matt exhaled shakily in relief, but Audra stiffened, knowing the reprieve was temporary. Victor turned away briefly, running a hand over his face as the truth sank in deeper. Audra's secret, her greatest, most buried secret, had just exploded into his world. She had delivered a bombshell that rippled through every relationship, every alliance, every move she'd ever made. Get him out of my sight, Victor finally growled, pointing toward Matt but staring dead at Audra. And pray that when I decide what happens next, you're ready to face it. Audra nodded, tears falling freely now, but her voice was steady. Thank you for not shooting him. Victor didn't reply. He simply stared at her with a mixture of disgust, confusion, betrayal, and something else she couldn't quite name, maybe the faintest flicker of reluctant respect for the brutal honesty she finally showed. As Audra guided Matt away, her legs trembling beneath her, the weight of everything she had revealed pressed down on her like an avalanche. Her secret had blown up. Her loyalty was in question. Her future with Newman was dangling by a thread. And Victor Newman, the man who had aimed a gun at her brother moments before, was still deciding whether she deserved redemption or destruction. The fallout had only just begun. The moment Audra pulled Matt out of Victor's line of fire, the air in the room shifted from explosive tension to a sickening quiet that hummed with the aftershock of everything that had just erupted, and yet Victor's silence, deadly, calculating, unreadable, became more terrifying than the gun he had pointed seconds earlier, because now his mind was working, dissecting, recalculating, pulling apart every moment of his interactions with Audra Charles, every smile she flashed at him, every confident pitch she made, every secretive glance she hid behind ambition, every maneuver she executed in boardrooms and backrooms alike, and as the gears in his mind turned, the full gravity of her admission dug in like a thorn, cutting deeper with every second that passed until rage, colder and far sharper than before, coiled beneath his ribs. Meanwhile, Audra half-dragged, half-supported Matt down the hallway, her pulse hammering wildly as she tried to maintain her composure, but her knees trembled under the crushing pressure of what she had done, what she had revealed, what she had destroyed. She felt as though she'd ripped out a vital organ and handed it to Victor with shaking hands, praying he didn't choose to crush it. Matt stumbled, clutching his side, blood seeping between his fingers from the earlier confrontation. Even now, even injured and barely coherent, he managed a hoarse whisper, "You shouldn't have done that, Audra. You shouldn't have told him." His voice cracked with a mixture of regret and disbelief, but Audra whipped around, grabbing his collar with desperate intensity. "I should have done it years ago," she hissed. "I should have exposed everything before your secrets started blowing holes through our lives. I should have told Victor the moment things spiraled, but I kept covering for you. I kept pretending you were salvageable. And now look where we are." Matt's expression softened with guilt, but his voice remained weak. "I never wanted you trapped in my mess." Audra shoved him lightly, frustration and heartbreak spilling over. "But I am trapped in it. And now Victor knows everything. Everything we worked to bury." She inhaled sharply, trying to slow her breathing, but panic clawed at her chest. "I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if this can be fixed at all." Back in the other room, Victor finally lowered the gun fully, but he didn't holster it, he simply stared at the floor, jaw clenched so hard the muscles in his face trembled. He replayed Audra's confession over and over, "Don't shoot my brother. Matt is my biological brother. I did it to protect him. I lied to you." The pieces fell together like a puzzle he wished he had never been handed. Audra Charles, ambitious, brilliant, ruthless, had been moving on a board he couldn't fully see. A board built on family ties she had hidden, on loyalty he had never known existed, on trauma he had never imagined she carried. He prided himself on knowing his enemies, knowing their histories, their motivations, their triggers, But Audra had blindsided him with a truth so twisted into her bones that even he couldn't have predicted it. And that alone infuriated him. He wasn't just betrayed, he was blindsided. Deceived. Made vulnerable. He hated vulnerability more than he hated lies. He paced slowly, the weight of the gun dragging at his arm like a reminder of the line he almost crossed, killing the brother of the woman he had trusted with significant power, influence, and responsibility. The irony tasted bitter on his tongue. She lied to me, he murmured to the empty room. She lied, and she expects forgiveness? His eyes hardened. No. Not forgiveness. Not yet. Audra finally got Matt to a back office and helped him collapse onto a worn leather couch. She grabbed a towel from a nearby drawer, pressing it firmly to his wound. Matt hissed in pain. You need a hospital, she muttered, panic still gripping her chest like a fist. We don't have time for this. Matt caught her wrist, squeezing gently. Audra, he's going to come after me. Audra froze, her breath catching in her throat as fear flickered through her eyes. Not just you, she whispered. He'll come after both of us. The enormity of it sank in. Victor Newman wasn't just angry. He wasn't just betrayed. He was calculating. And he was deciding whether she had crossed a line that even her tears and confessions couldn't undo. Matt swallowed hard, glancing toward the door as if expecting Victor to burst through at any moment. We should run, he rasped. We should go now. Audra shook her head fiercely. Do you know what running will do? Her voice wavered. It will confirm his worst suspicions. It will solidify every reason he needs to destroy us. Matt coughed, blood staining his lips. We're already destroyed. Audra looked away, her throat tightening. Not yet. When Victor finally re-entered the hallway, his footsteps were slow, deliberate, echoing with the weight of an approaching storm. He followed the faint trail of droplets, Matt's blood, leading to the office door. Before he reached it, Nikki appeared at the end of the corridor, her face pale, her eyes wide. Victor, what happened? He didn't slow his stride. Audra happened, he growled, his voice heavy with controlled rage. Nikki gasped softly. What do you mean? She lied, he snapped. From the beginning. Nikki's expression shifted from confusion to horror as she processed his tone. Victor, you're not going to kill her, are you? Victor stopped walking, his back rigid. I don't kill unless I must. Nikki stepped closer, voice trembling. Must you now? Victor didn't answer. Instead, he placed a hand on the office door handle. I need answers. Nikki grabbed his arm. Victor, you can't, he turned slowly, his eyes dark and unwavering. I need answers, he repeated, voice chilled to the marrow. Then decide what to do with them. Inside, Audra's breath hitched when she heard the footsteps approaching. Matt stiffened, attempting to sit up, but Audra shoved him back with force. Don't move, she whispered sharply. The door swung open, and Victor stepped inside with a coldness that made the room temperature drop several degrees. Nikki lingered in the doorway, torn between fear and duty. Victor's gaze first settled on Matt, bleeding, weakened, cornered. Then it shifted to Audra. She straightened despite the tremor in her spine. Victor. I know you're furious, you know nothing, he cut her off sharply. His voice carried the quiet blade of a man who could destroy lives without raising it above a whisper. I want the truth. All of it. Every detail you conveniently avoided sharing while you worked your way into my company, and into my confidence. Audra felt the accusation slice into her. You had my loyalty, she whispered. Did I? His eyes flared. Or did I have your performance? The question struck her harder than the gun ever could. It wasn't a performance, she insisted, voice cracking. Victor, everything I built with you was real. My goals. My achievements. My respect for you. She swallowed hard. But Matt, my brother, he was the one part of my life I couldn't control or abandon. Victor stepped closer, his presence towering over her. And yet you abandoned honesty. Audra flinched. Because I was afraid of losing everything. You may lose it regardless, he said darkly. Matt shifted weakly. Blame me, not her. Victor turned toward him with an expression so cold Matt visibly recoiled. I do blame you, Victor said softly. But she is responsible for the choices she made. And hiding you was the biggest one. Audra's chin quivered. Victor, please. If you want to destroy me professionally, do it. If you want to fire me, humiliate me, blacklist me, fine. I'll take it. She gestured toward Matt. But don't kill him. Don't take away the only person I have left. Victor studied her, really studied her, for the first time since her confession. He saw the brokenness she never showed. The desperation. The remnants of the wounded girl she once was. And for a brief second, he hesitated. Not out of mercy. But out of fascination. Rarely did he see someone stand between him and vengeance with such naked vulnerability. Nikki stepped forward cautiously. Victor, let's think this through. He ignored her. Slowly, Victor crouched in front of Matt, leveling his gaze with the man's hollow, terrified eyes. You came into this town, Victor said softly, and you used my family. You preyed on weakness. On pain. On history you had no right to manipulate. Matt's breath grew shallow. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Victor's mouth curved into a humorless smile. Good. Because you won't get it. Audra took a step forward.